Go ahead and tell them your name, man.
My name is Richard Deberry.
Do you have a middle name?
Wesley.
Oh.
And I'm a junior.
Oh, my goodness.
Richard Wesley Deberry Jr.
Now, Richard, let me ask you something, man. If today was your last day on Earth, what would the one thing you want everybody to remember about you?
That's a deep one.
Well, might as well start there.
One thing I want everybody to remember about me is this. I was always willing and trying to make a positive impact and to encourage and motivate people to live their best life.
Which brings me to the real question that I think is going to help get us to where we need to be so we can make sure this moment in time is really documented. Where did you learn to go on so many adventures? And what's the greatest lesson you learned by going on adventures?
Yeah. You know, I think as a kid, just something that took place as a kid. I was always an extremely curious kid. And between being curious and being a kid that always had dreams, that's what's led me to all of my adventures in life. And I always want to know, I always want to see, and I don't want to be told stuff. I don't want to read it. I want to see it, touch it, taste it, feel it on my own, have my own experience and perspective is why I take the adventures that I do. And Trev, I can't really say is one thing that on all my adventures that sticks out more than the other, but I can tell you collectively, and I don't want to sound arrogant or cocky, that's not the approach, but in reality, with so many different experiences from traveling 36 different countries and being ingrained in so many different cultures, I feel larger than most people as a person. I mean, I've learned and touched and felt and smelled so many different things and just different real life experiences and seeing how different people are raised and seeing things for myself. I can sit in a lot of different rooms and have a lot of different conversations and tell people things that really happen and experiences. I mean, it makes you feel large. It makes me feel more whole. It allows me to see how large and small the world is. Because I remember one time when I was in Africa and I was talking to a person in Africa about an experience, and I mentioned somebody's name and in a city and state. I'm all in Africa, and they knew the person. And that's why I believe in 6 degrees of separation. And I don't know if you're familiar with that philosophy or not, but
yeah, I mean, that's the LinkedIn, that's the Facebook, that's why
correct.
Social networking and even LinkedIn. And what people may not know is a lot of people originally sent me your things. And I tell you, when they were sending me, man, you got to work with this dude. I said, work with what? He has a business. Looks like he's killing it. I don't need to work with him. And not knowing that you had a team-like mentality.
Yeah.
And the other people literally in my DM saying, hey, you spending too much money on a dog food. I said, my man, I ain't never had no GoFundMe.
Yeah, no doubt.
I ain't never been like, hey, why don't y'all fund this and feed my dogs for me? That didn't happen.
Yep.
I footed all the bills to build my perspective relative to health out, and then Richard came along and patiently still put up with me, and then allowed me to learn from him.
It's been a pleasure.
Likewise, and that hence is why I'm like, man, I've been blessed to meet some special people in my life.
Yeah. And
what I've seen, because I love videography and documentaries, is I said, man, that person's story has to be captured. We need that timestamp,
no doubt,
so that whether it be a kid of yours or a kid that looked like you, a kid going through what you've gone through, they might say, man, I always want to get into dogs. What better way to learn from a guy who has a story like yours?
Correct. Because a lot of times, Trev, like you think you that kid that is your situation is this unique to you and nobody's been there, done that, and they don't really understand. That's not the case. I mean, unfortunately, it's not the case. We all have a unique, it can be unique, but it's still things that I can commonly relate to and I can talk to that will touch somebody that's kind of been through the same things I have been to. Different levels, but it's very similar. So that's not the case. And by doing stuff and sharing parts of my life, I want to be able to let people know you're not alone.
Is there a moment or a story that you could tell that changed who you are?
Wow. Trev, honestly, I change a lot because there's so many impactful moments because I'm not a creature of habit per se. I like structure, I like being consistent, but I'm also shifting and moving and bouncing and putting myself in uncomfortable situations. And I find that that's where a lot of my growth come from, is uncomfortable situations. That has given me so many just moments where growth happens, experience happens. And I'm like, I'm glad that I did this, because I went into it halfway thinking I shouldn't be doing it and still tried it, because the curiosity in me and just challenging myself to be uncomfortable took place. And that's where growth and experiences, that it's been so many that's happened, that I was like, wow.
And that pulls me to the next question too, because how do you know to identify moments of growth? And even from where I'm sitting, when I have to do my talks per se, I'm like, man, had we not met, had I not, I said 1 year, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna say yes to more things. And that 1 year, it gave me perspective. And I don't know that it was a lack of comfortability or uncomfortability. It was just like, I know that I can maneuver around situations, but I was so dead focused on one idea, didn't know there were greater ideas out there. And they get greater when you work together. But if you had to give perspective on just how to embrace change when it's happening versus being single track of one mind, what would that be? Because
understand this, it's gonna make you nervous. it's gonna give you a feeling inside you, and it's gonna be that voice in the back of your brain that's saying, don't do it, nope, it ain't gonna work. It's gonna be so much doubt in your mind, because you are entering a zone and a stage of your life where you don't have real life experience. So it's gonna be some anxiety. And make sure you try to process the emotion that you're feeling and channel your thoughts to where, how you can imagine the other side will be, to try to find something positive about it, and take the step slowly, calculate it. But don't not take the step and then you living in one of them situations where you wish you had done it.
Now, is there a time where you that helped you basically identify change was necessary? And I think it goes back to the kind of original question.
Bro, when you ask me that, absolutely. I remember a specific moment in my life where I was in corporate America, and I sacrificed a lot to get into corporate America, and I worked in my field for 10 years in the automobile industry, and I shifted to the corporate world, and I'm doing what the American dream is. I'm chasing titles. I'm trying to get promoted. I'm rubbing elbows with the right people. I'm talking the way they tell me I'm supposed to talk. I'm walking the way I'm being like this corporate robot. And it would be days where I didn't like myself and the image I was being, because of the circumstances that I was in and chasing up the ladder. I wasn't true to myself. And that was a very, it was a slap in my face, because that's something I always say I would do, is be real. And there was a moment where I had to make a decision on my career and on my life, if I was gonna stay in that environment or completely separate, where I had no plan. And we're talking about Fortune 500 job, like Fortune 500 job, where you have great benefits, you have great income, a six-figure year income. If you stay within that environment and you do your retirement plan, you can pretty much retire a millionaire. And that's something that everybody chases and dreams and wants to have and be. So a moment came where I had to make a decision on if I wanted to still chase the American dream or believe in me.
And what is it that you learned about your dream, or what was your original dream, or did you ever have a dream?
Trev, I didn't have a dream, but I thought that I did, which was the American dream. And that's why when I got deeper into it and I realized that the American dream wasn't my dream, and I wasn't, my soul wasn't happy. And it was like every day was like Groundhog Day. And I realized that the dream that I thought was my dream wasn't my dream. It was more of a freaking nightmare. And I needed to rethink myself and refocus and try to understand what I'm passionate about, what I really love to do. And what could I do every day if I had the ability to do something every day, what would it be? And these are the questions I started asking myself. And it was fish, mess with dogs, and work out. And travel the world. Those 4 things. It was 4 things. So I stepped out on faith. I believed in me. I knew what I had done for other companies, and I've built companies from zero to making millions. Like I know I've made company millions of dollars, multi-millions. So I said to myself, if I can do it for them, why can't I do it for myself?
Food for thought, guys. Well, this is segment in part one of Richard's story as we continue to unwrap what we believe should last forever in terms of your words, because the actions already spoken loud enough.
Correct.